Hey Rob, how you doing?
All good, all good.
Been,
Thank you.
thanks for the coffee yesterday. Really
Pleasure,
good.
always a pleasure.
So it's popped up on my old Facebook that Seico is 30 years old. That's a pretty fantastic achievement, I have to say. Well done. I think we passed ours 2 or 3 years ago, which is no greater achievement, but it's been a funny old 30 years. How's it been?
It's been a funny old 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone quick, if I'm honest. I mean, I had no plans when I set the company up. That's probably the best thing I can say. So the fact that we've still here 30 years on is it's interesting, and I've enjoyed it. So I guess that's why we're still here.
I think that's the main thing, is you got to have fun along the way with it. Otherwise, why get out of bed in the morning?
For sure. I mean, there's always going to be challenges in life, and the business brings more challenges than most. But if you don't enjoy it, you've got to change it.
No. And how have you found sort of like working with the team over this? The team been pretty? Have you had much people sort of coming and going a lot, or have you been really steady with the team?
You always. Over the 30 years, we've changed what we do in terms of we were very much insurance broker focused, personal lines, and went to commercial. Now we're very mortgage focused and have been for over a decade. So your team changes based on the skills you need, of course. But at each change, the team has been lot longevity. So on the mortgage side now, which is where we are, very, very strong. Even though we've only grown it over the last 10 years, I've got people who've been with me 15, 16 years over the 30 years. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, from my own experience, I know how tough it's been in the last year. Obviously, we've had a fair bit of help from the government with furlough and help with rates. So, but obviously that's in my business. Has it been similar for you? Has it been really, or has the remortgage market stayed strong?
No, it was. There was a definite bump. I'll be honest. I mean, go back a year from now to March when Boris shut the country down. I definitely wasn't expecting that. I know most people were. It kind of caught me on the hop. I didn't expect we wouldn't be allowed to go to work. So we certainly had probably a couple of months where everything fell off the end of the cliff. But property is one of those businesses which doesn't stay down for long. I mean, literally, it can be a matter of weeks. And we found that it returned really quickly for us. And the biggest challenge we had wasn't the volume of business wanting to be done. It was the ability to talk to our lenders who were all working from home, the ability to talk to solicitors who were all working from home. For some reason, the virus, whilst it wasn't a computer virus, you felt it was, because people weren't working online anymore. It was all trying to get hold of someone. So our job became hard based on the amount of time it took to process cases. But the volume of cases picked up very, very quickly again.
Has the transaction time gone out? Like we used to, back in the day, we used to reckon 12 weeks from accepting an offer to completion. I think more recently we've seen it at near as 16.
Yeah, I think what happened was actually it became a lot shorter over the last few years, where we could turn offers around within a few days, literally a couple of days. You'd have a full written offer. The completion time on a mortgage, of course, still was always 12 weeks is about where it should be. I think it then exceeded that to a number of months last year, but I think we're back to maybe 15, 16 weeks now. And I see it going back to where it was, quite frankly. But it's going to take a few more months before we get there. Again, it's down to the people on the other end. It's down to the legal side of things and the lenders to be able to actually get back and cope with the volume again. Once that happens, my job and your job actually becomes much the same as it always was. Yeah,
and obviously the government's initiative regarding and I use the word loosely, the guarantee for the 95% loan to value. Though I think the target market is still possibly slightly unclear. I mean, that's going to be, or short. Well, my question would be, that's probably a massive boost, hasn't it, to your industry?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think that every time the government do anything in the financial side, they pick property as a leader. because the country is so property focused, and if property does well, then the country financially tends to do well. So there's always a big lead in property, which is fantastic. My view on the latest 5% thing, I think that it's there for the protection of the lender rather than the consumer.
Okay.
And it doesn't actually give the consumer any protection at all. It gives the lender that 5% protection. But what it does give to the consumer is a bit of confidence that the market's strong, and it also will open up more 95% deals. So I think people need to understand the 5% guarantee doesn't go to them; it goes to the lender. But what it does do, it opens up lenders who were perhaps lending 85% to encourage them, because they have a guarantee to lend 95%. So I think there's a misunderstanding of what it is, but I think the end result will bring more opportunity to people still.
Yeah, I mean,
that makes sense.
I think absolutely. I think so. From my point of view, I think we'll see more people come out of the rental sector at the bottom end of the market, and they'll try and get into the house spot onto the ladder.
We all want to own a house, don't we? It's ingrained in us, you know. So I agree.
I'm not so sure there hasn't been a slight shift. I agree with exactly what you say, but I still think there's been a slight shift towards rental, particularly in the first maybe 10 years of being out there on your own, 20 to 30.
Yeah, you're allowed to disagree with me. I mean, I would say you shouldn't do it too often, but I get why you would. But I think that
I'd like to move on from there, so I might have the upper hand. So taking back to my young people, 20, 25, what advice might you give them if they're considering setting out on their own into that sort of dangerous arena of being self-employed?
You know what, it's funny because actually over 30 years, you look at all the lessons you've learned, and actually there's certain key things which don't change. Doesn't matter what the industry is, doesn't matter whether you're internet-based, retail, doesn't matter whether you're a one-man band or you have 100 staff, whatever it is, there are certain things which are always steady throughout. And I think for me, I always think with business, you have to know your numbers, and people often don't know their numbers. And I really do mean that. I mean, you need to know what your expenses are, you need to know what your income is, and you need to be able to balance the books. So many people don't run their business knowing the management information. And actually, management information, is everything, absolutely everything. If you don't know what your business is doing or what your competitors might be doing, you don't know what staffing you need, don't know the business coming. If you don't know those numbers, the business will run you. I mean, absolutely. So definitely know your numbers. Another thing I learned in business, because I set up my business without any idea of what I was pretty much going to do. I knew I was pretty much unemployable from probably about 13, and that's just a DNA thing, I think. I ended up having to work for myself, but I had no plan for that, and I think that's okay. A lot of people work on long-term business plans. I think, for me, certainly, you've got to be resilient and you've got to be flexible to change. And when I look at my 30 years, we've changed what we do 4 or 5 times in that period, and sometimes very, very quickly. And actually, sometimes I come into the office, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I react to what's going to happen. So it's good to have an idea of what you're going to do. It's good to have a direction, of course, but don't be scared of change. And take that first step. Whatever it is you need to do it. See what the reaction is, and then crack on. And the other thing I've learned so much, but another really key point, probably because of our friendship and our relationship, actually, there's a lot of businesses in our city, and I think Brighton's probably unique in this in some respects, although it happens around. Brighton's very, very a friendly city. There's a lot of great long-term successful businesses working in very similar industries, doing different parts of the job. It's like when you employ staff, you don't employ the staff to all do the same thing. You have different people in different areas in your business with those skills, and other businesses can complement you in the same way. So we're a great example of that. We're both working in the property market, but both at completely different parts of the game. So, if you can find other companies you can work with who have the same honesty and integrity as you do, actually it's a great way of all of us growing our businesses and concentrating on what we're good at. And again, people tend to resist that. They see it as they competitors to each other, and I don't think there needs to be. I think a lot more collaboration is very sensible.
Well, you've actually answered my last question without.
I didn't know you had another one.
No, well, luckily that was it, so you can relax now. But, yeah, as I said, right, really the purpose of the chat, and it's such a shame we can't get together right now, but it won't be long. It was just to say, I've loved working with you over the last few years, and
thank you.
For both of us to achieve 30 years is exceptional, I think, with very challenging times. And I absolutely agree with pretty much everything you've said. Just got to be prepared to, duck and dive and ebb and flow and come to work and be prepared to be flexible. And staff retention also, a wonderful thing. And you and I, the people who work closely with us, have to be very aware of that. But it's not something that it has to be something that comes naturally. The way you run your business, the way you talk to people, the way you approach people, approach situations, involve key people in key decisions. And at the end of the day, the property market, it is a great big family. Doesn't always get on in the city, but as you're quite right, you have all different aspects, and we should work harder. And our association, the Brighton and Hove Estate Agents Association, to be fair, does try hard to get us all moving in the same direction, but it's not easy. We're all individuals. We all have our own ideas of how to work. Yeah,
we can all learn a lot from each other. So it's
Anyway, old friend, good luck for your next 30 years. And,
thank you.
Rumour has it your success is pretty much down to you getting up early every morning and swimming in that beautiful, though sometimes cold, sea. Is that right?
What? I think that is the secret to my success. I think I get up in the morning, I walk in the sea, I have a swim, I come out, and somehow everything's good in the world.
Well, good luck to you.
I don't know what happened while I was in there, but it was all good.
Well, it's never that long. I mean, what's it, about 10 degrees at the moment?
Oh, listen to you. I don't think it's that long. I'm not even going there. Not even going there. Long enough.
Cheers, Rob. Look after yourself.
Thanks, my man. Take care.
Take care. Bye.